Well, joining me live from Ukraine, we have Vasyl Miroshnichenko, Ukraine Ambassador to Australia, Stefan Romaniw, Co-Chair of Australian Federation of Ukrainian, and Masha Belikova, Grain Market Observer in Dnipro. How are you all?
Good, thank you, Jane.
Hello, I'm fine.
Vasyl, let's start with you. We just heard Ukraine lacks artillery. Can you describe what is needed there?
Indeed, Ukraine needs artillery guns. We lack about 700 of those. Australia has kindly assisted us with 6, and we need more of those artillery guns. We need more armored personnel carriers. We need anti-tank weapons. We need long-range missiles. A great deal is needed, and most importantly, we need ammunition, 155mm ammunition for these artillery guns. Where the range is about 40 kilometers, and the numbers which Russians have are indeed, they're outnumbering us. For every Ukrainian shell, you get at least 10 Russian ones. So we need that steady supply of weapons coming into the country to be able to repel the Russians, to be able to restore our sovereignty. And that's what's going on. And Australia has been punching above its weight, sending 285 million of military assistance to Ukraine, which included various pieces. But you see that this war is so brutal, the intensity of this war is so high that we need to see it coming on a regular basis from our allies, from our friends. And I'm extremely delighted that Ukraine has been able to discover a friend like Australia, so far away, but so close in terms of values, in terms of understanding what this fight is all about.
Stefan, you visit Ukraine regularly from Australia. What have you been doing in this trip? And describe to us how the people are. We just heard in the report before that, people are reluctant to leave. There's no gas, there's no power, there's no water, but they don't want to go.
Well, Janie, one thing we need to understand, and I think everybody sees now, is the resilience of the Ukrainian people. Ukraine will not give up territory. Ukraine has lost too many lives, children, women, soldiers, to just let this go. So the fight will continue, and I support the ambassador in that call for more military aid, and Australia does punch above its weight. My role here at the moment is the Australian Federation of Ukrainian Organisations through our Ukraine Crisis Appeal. We've collected over $6 million. I'm just after this interview going to Irpin, where we're supporting the building of a shelter. We find there are a lot of displaced people here in Ukraine. So the Australian Federation through the Crisis Appeal will help build or refurbish 10 of those. I was yesterday at the Ukrainian Catholic University in Lviv, where is our drop-off point. So we've sent over 200 pallets of medical aid, which is being distributed. My role was to see how the logistics work. We have a great team in Australia headed by Darka Sinko and Liz Poslowski, who are doing an amazing job. The purpose here is to make sure that our aid is going to the right place, assess what's required, look at the logistics, but more importantly, and I think it's very important to let the Ukrainian people know that the diaspora is with Ukraine. So in my role with the Ukrainian World Congress, we try to have meetings. I've met with Rotary, I've met with others to say we're here with you, obviously meeting with government representatives to reinforce that message that we're in for this together. And we certainly support the president in what he says is Ukraine wins, the world wins, Ukraine loses, the world loses. We're fighting a war of values, and Mr. Putin and all those associated with him have to be brought to justice. As I said, I'm going to Irpin and Bucha in a couple of minutes to look at one of these sites. But I've been there a couple of times now, you see the pain on people's faces, but you also see their resilience. So we call on the world, continue to support Ukraine militarily and from a humanitarian point of view, and also from a legal perspective.